Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. All right, all you positive heads. On this week's Soul Share episode, I'm very excited to have Ben Holt here with me on the show. Ben is the creator of Connect and Evolve and is known for his work as a breathwork facilitator, sound healer, plant medicine facilitator, meditation guide, filmmaker, and musician. Hello, Ben. You got all the bases covered. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, brother. It's great to be here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to this. When I saw we had the same haircut, I knew we were going to get along. So, you know.
Exactly.
So I'm going to start you off with my cliche opener, which is this. You're in an elevator. The woman next to you looks over, says, "What's your passion?" You got 10 floors to answer. What do you say?
Well, Brandon, I don't think it would take 10 floors because I actually was asked this not too long ago, about a year ago, I suppose. And at that moment, I did not know the answer to the question. So I really sat with it for a while. And after some discernment and some inquiry, I realized that my passion, there's many of them, but they all kind of bottleneck into facilitating moments of awe. So awe-inspiring moments that make you realize something unique about yourself, or make you see beyond, the monotony of everyday tasks, especially here in the West. Make you see deeper into the truth of nature and God, if you will.
Cool.
And doing that through music, through film, through medicine, through facilitation, through healing, through powerful retreats. And that's how we're doing it currently, and such a blessing.
Cool. Love that.
Yes.
Love that. Well, if you would give us a little bit of backstory. I always like to have some context for who we're hearing from on the show, and kind of how you got here, whatever feels relevant to share.
Sure, absolutely. So a quick backstory about me. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. When I was 23, I was working in sales for a startup company. Tried to be entrepreneurial all through college, didn't have much success. I originally come from Louisiana. There's not a whole lot of opportunity in Louisiana for entrepreneurs unless you're working in oil and gas. And so when I finally got this opportunity to work for this startup and make some money, I was very excited. I thought that financial success was going to be the key to my fulfillment in life and my happiness in life. And I quickly realized after about 11 months and $100,000 later, that wasn't the case. I finally had this 6-figure goal finally hit. And I realized that after that, I was kind of more lost than I was in the very beginning, and quickly realized that the passion that I had for this new endeavor was really something that made me feel excited and fulfilled and happy. And so I kind of applied that to the next thing that I did, and found again that passion, that excitement, that power that you feel inside of you whenever you say yes to something and you fully give it your all. And I did that kind of over and over and over again, not finding fulfillment. And I remember one unique moment in Costa Rica when I had achieved not only financial success, but I had also achieved autonomy. I achieved freedom of my location, because I was working from the computer. I had this very sweet gig where I had set up with virtual assistants and the whole thing. This was when digital nomading was kind of new and very popular. Everybody wanted to be a digital nomad. I caught a lucky break and was able to do that. I was in Costa Rica. I'd made a bunch of money that month. Had this beautiful girlfriend. I remember her putting down this delicious bowl of food. She loved to cook. And on the beach, totally had made it. I felt like there was nothing else I could do as a 24-year-old to experience more from life. And I remember in that moment feeling just, oh my gosh, I'm still not fulfilled. I'm still not satiated.
Yeah.
And so I continued to travel. I decided to actually left that girlfriend and was like, well, I'm going to move to Colombia and start a film business there. And maybe creativity in Colombia will make me happy. And after about 3 months in Colombia, I had launched this film business. I had a couple of employees. It was going fine. We were earning pesos, which I thought was fun and interesting. And I came back to the United States for a wedding. And after the wedding, I thought I was just going to go straight back to Colombia and live in a penthouse and be a baller, expat, right? The whole thing.
Yeah.
Classic. And I realized after the wedding that, man, I just had this deep feeling that I needed to stay in the United States, and I had no idea why. And eventually, after about 2 weeks of sleeping on a buddy's couch, staying in the United States, he told me, man, you should go up to New York and do Bufo with Dr. John. I said, who's Dr. John? What's Bufo? And
5-MeO DMT.
Yes, 5-MeO DMT, which is, people can't see this if they're listening, but I have a molecule on my shirt right now, the 5-MeO DMT molecule. It's great to have this for that story. But yes, so I went up to New York. I had the experience. It was beautiful, very powerful. I had done medicine work before with ayahuasca. And I thought the takeaway was going to be, if my consciousness can leave my body and go that far out, then and come back in, then anything is possible. So I just thought it was going to expand my horizons and my awareness of what's possible. And then 5 days later, as I'm integrating, when integrating wasn't even a thing at the time, it wasn't a hot topic. I was meditating on a dock in Lake Austin, which is a beautiful place to be. I think in September, so it was wonderful weather. I felt this. I had my bandana around my eyes, and I was sitting, and then out of nowhere, I felt this jolt go through my entire body. And I picked up the bandana off of my eyes, and what I saw was just the water, the trees, the sky. I didn't see them as water, trees, and sky, but I saw the geometric makeup behind them all.
Wow.
Which was, very startling, but at the same
time, you weren't
time,
on medicine of any kind at this moment.
Not on medicine of any kind, exactly.
Wow.
And so this is why it was the most, why it was so revealing to me and why it was so powerful. I also noticed I had this form of supersonic hearing of some sorts.
Wow.
I was experiencing almost 360-degree vision. And then I felt this incredible ecstatic bliss go through my whole body. I didn't know what this was at the time. After experiencing it and then researching it and learning more about it, I now realize that I was experiencing a deep state of samadhi, a deep state of ecstasy through meditation, which is something that the yogis and babas pursue for many lifetimes. That's why they put themselves away in caves in solitude until they have this experience. And I knew that I was experiencing that, and I knew that it was something very, very sacred. And I was still for hours and hours and hours and hours. I just sat in stillness and experienced this profound bliss. As I was fully raptured in it, I was also like, oh my gosh, I don't want this to end. And then I realized in a moment that, if I put myself away into solitude and had somebody bring me rice every few days, I could stay here forever. And connected with Jesus, Krishna, and Buddha in a really beautiful way. Grew up in a really kind of toxic Christian household and environment in South Louisiana. And from there, I kind of moved away from Christian teachings and Jesus Christ and all of the good stuff. And then it came
all
full
the
circle.
southern version,
all the Bible Belt stuff.
I'm from Virginia, so
close enough.
My son's mother is as her whole side of the family is like deep Louisiana Cajun vibe. So
my college mascot is literally the Raging Cajuns. So
right.
But from there, I had this moment with Jesus where, it was almost like speaking to me as if you and I are speaking right now. And I just remember telling him, like, man, and feeling his energy, feeling this familiarity, feeling this long lineage of brotherhood, and
Yeah.
and of mentorship. And it's just like, man, you are so misunderstood, right? And he said, yeah, welcome to the club. Now you know. And after that experience, I just experienced this ecstatic state of bliss and egolessness for an entire month straight, 30 days, where everything listeners can't see this, but I'm just holding this little pendant in my hand. Everything from this to, nature itself, to you, to me, everything was the most incredible and immaculate, perfect creation, on a deep experiential level, which is something that I haven't felt since then, but I've remembered that that's the truth from that experience. But that deep feeling of that totally changed my life. It absolutely transformed my life and put me onto the trajectory of where I am now, just being in service in the way that I am in service. And I had no idea that it was simply preparing me for what I would like to call the Great Awakening, to
Mm-hmm.
this great shift in consciousness into a new paradigm, of awareness and reality that we are experiencing right now. And now it's just so evident, everybody's coming out of the woodwork wanting to understand themselves more and more spiritually. And it's a collective consciousness. The tipping point has happened, I feel, for the collective that is supposed to wake up in this lifetime. We came here to do it, and now the tipping point's happened, and now we're snowballing just down this big giant mountain. And it's beautiful to see, it's beautiful to witness. And obviously the polarity of that is also the darkness that's taking place right now, which is also
Right.
extremely evident.
Right.
So after that experience I went back. I knew I needed to go back and learn how to work with this medicine. So I went back to Dr. John. I mentored under him. I apprenticed under him. I was his first apprentice, which is really cool. It's kind of a cool lineage story. I traveled through Mexico, South America, and the United States, giving that medicine away. Just almost being a prophet of love and of the beatific vision. And I quickly realized that there was a lot lacking in the shamanic community and the shamanic practice. At least that shamanic community and the shamanic practice I was exposed to, it wasn't complete. And so I went on a pilgrimage to India and Southeast Asia, just basically that part of the world, over in Asia and Europe, to learn more about breathwork, meditation, yoga, and to really embody these practices in order to create a holistic and integral and integrated container for the medicine to sit within. And so I came back from Asia whenever COVID happened, March 2020. And since I've been back, we've hosted about 20 transformational retreats where we implement medicine, some without medicine, but all with yoga, meditation, qigong, breathwork, awareness, mindfulness, heart-opening workshops, just practices for people to really deeply embody their highest expression, which I know you're all about, deeply embody their truth. And it's just been beautiful, man. It's been an absolute, I'm half the time I feel like I'm just bearing witness to my journey, and I couldn't be more grateful for it.
Wow. What a cool journey it is. And
Thank you.
yeah, I'm curious. So the samadhi moment happened a week or so after the 5-MeO
That's right.
journey. So how did the samadhi moment compare to the 5-MeO experience itself? Was there some similarity there? Like,
the 5-MeO is almost like a hand grenade. It's almost like an atomic
maybe explain
bomb.
it for those who don't know. I'm sure a lot of our listeners do, but this is a form of DMT that comes from a particular frog. Yes. That is, some call the breath of God, as opposed to the more common DMT, which they kind of have different.
Sure, I could do a quick nutshell.
Sure. Yeah. Why don't you do that?
So NN-DMT is what most people refer to when they say DMT. NN-DMT. And this is the DMT that's in the chacruna. It's in the DMT that's in ayahuasca. You can also freebase this DMT. It's DMT that we produce in our our body. Some say we produce it in our pineal gland. Most of it's produced in the lungs. You can experience some form of DMT, in DMT experience when you're doing certain types of breath work. But the 5-methyloxy DMT, the 5-MeO DMT that we're talking about, is what is referred to as the God molecule. It is, while I call in DMT almost like picking up the veil and showing you the activity that's taking place behind the veil. And it's a very unique realm that you experience, very cartoonish. There's, McKenna talks about this so much, where you have the machine elves and
Yep.
you have the jester and you have Anubis, and like there's entities there, that's, whether they are their own dimension or our mind produces this experience, nobody really knows. But the 5-methyloxy DMT, if N-DMT is a picture show, 5-methyloxy DMT is a full-on binding and embodying of source energy of God. And for me, my only understanding, my greatest theory, if you will, is that there is a beam of consciousness, a beam of source energy of light that's inhabiting, that's giving us the divine spark in our bodies, like is inhabiting our biology. And what we do is we fully almost dunk our whole bodies, almost as if we're dunking into a cold plunge or a cold shower. We fully immerse ourselves in that beam of consciousnness. And what it does in this really miraculous way is, if we have trauma packets inside of the body, or if we have it in our emotional body or spiritual body, it's almost like a pressure washer coming in and just totally spraying all of the gunk off of our filter, if you will. If our filter is kind of our heart center or our heart space, and we have conditioning and traumatic experiences that just it clogs it up with all this gunk. It's like the 5-methyloxy DMT, and kind of just comes in and pressure washes that and sprays it clean. And it gives us this ability to have this really expanded awareness of reality and of spirituality, while it also does this incredible clearing act. And this experience is similar to a nirkalpa samadhi experience, which is, in Vedantic philosophy, is what we aspire to achieve through meditation. Nirkalpa samadhi is kind of the beatific vision. Full kalpa samadhi is where you're immersed in the beatific vision for multiple days. And so what we have the ability to do now, remarkably in the West, and all over the world, but primarily in the West, with people that are taking this very seriously, is prepare somebody to have a nirkalpa samadhi experience, initiate that experience, and then integrate that experience. And so what we have here is kind of an assembly line for deeply profound spiritual awakenings. And when done correctly, they're extremely sustainable and completely life-changing. And it creates massive ripples. And so, yeah, that's a quick background in DMT. I call it the picture show, right? When used in ayahuasca and other ceremonial situations like that, it can be extremely profound. And then 5-methyloxy DMT, it's not visual. Most people just report seeing a bright light. The thinking mind can't really sustain itself in that space. If you go all the way to non-duality, it can't be there, right? The thinking mind's good for research and communication. It's just not, it's not adept to that space. And so it goes, so you don't have any like memory of your experience really, but what takes place is almost this genetic upgrade. It's like your genes, which we know through epigenetics that our genes express to match our environment and to reflect our environment. It's like through that experience, that infinite non-dual, unbelievable experience, your genetic expression shifts and changes to reflect that that's possible. And that's where we see just like, incredible results with depression, trauma, anxiety, drug addiction.
Yeah.
Similar to what Iboga does. But yeah, so that's why I love this medicine so much. I went during my apprenticeship, I saw people coming in from Upper East Side Manhattan. So they were totally riddled with stress and anxiety, couldn't even open their arms to hug you or tell you hello. And then 1 hour later, they were having a conversation, being loving, being open, similar to the conversation you or I are having right now.
Yeah. It makes me think, ever heard, there's a Comedy Central, I believe it's Comedy Central, does this whole thing on these psychedelics, and my friend Ramin, I forget exactly how he pronounces it. He's been on the show before, and I've been on his show. He was on it, and then Shane Moss. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He tells like comedian, psychonaut for sure. He went really, really deep with and got a little tripped up doing so many psychedelics and documenting it for the world. But he has a great story. You can find this on YouTube if you search Purple Woman DMT, and it's like he goes in and he has this profound experience with this woman repeatedly in the DMT realms where he's, you know, she's like, there's like, it feels like a relationship that he's been in for lifetimes, and she's kind of jealous of him, and like, looks like she's like, I'm kind of dating someone in the DMT realms, it feels. And the funny thing is you know, he was like having these experiences, and then he had a friend that went in for the first time, and actually, I think it was Ramin actually that who tells this particular story. He went in, and if I'm remembering correctly, and he was like really scared at first or whatever, and then they heard Shane's voice. These DMT beings heard him in the background. It's like, hold on, you know Shane? And then all of a sudden they were like all like friendly and loving, and then this purple woman came to him and told him, tell Shane I said hello, kind of thing. So it's like this information was passed, like, hold on, she was there for you too. Like, oh my God, it's a great story. And he tells it way better than me, obviously. But if you check that out.
Those realms, you know, what we're doing whenever, you know, people, the thing is, plant medicine is in its adolescence, you know, just to be honest. And everybody wants to do plant medicine. I don't care what it is. I just want to do it. And we saw this from 2007 to now, where people just go to the jungle. They want to drink ayahuasca just to experience it. And you don't realize like what you're really doing whenever you do these medicines and the portal that opens, you know? So I just encourage everybody listening, if you're interested in doing plant medicine or psychedelics in a really profound and healing way, in that way, not recreationally, make sure you do it with a really good facilitator in a really beautiful setting, and that there's a prayer, there's an intention behind it, because honestly, you're opening the portal for miracles. So if you open the portal for miracles with a deep prayer, with a prayer from the heart, then that portal is going to reflect your prayer. And so, you know, and psychonauts is why a lot of psychonauts get tripped up, because they're just doing it for the experience, just to observe and experience. And reality is very perspective based, right? So you can start getting really squirrely with that.
Exactly. When you realize you're creating your reality, and the intention that you bring into it is going to be reflected, like you said. But I thought his story was so profound, because it sort of, you know, it made me think of it when you said, whether or not this is just sort of in our own awareness, or it's really this external thing. Well, he certainly has some evidence that he feels to show it is, you know, external, whatever that means, you know. That's like all, it's really fascinating to think about it existing outside of his mind, you know.
Absolutely. A good friend of mine has incredible DMT stories and experiences that do the same thing. They just prove time and time again that it is a kind of a realm that we can go to, that the experiences are predictable. They're related to other experiences people have. People meet the same entities, etc. The 5-MeO DMT, totally different experience. And for me, it's like, I love psychedelics. I think they're great, but I also realize, you know, I'm kind of just surrendered to, I'm like, spirit, you know, tell me what's next, share with me what needs to be shared with the world, and I'll do it. And kind of what I've been receiving more and more is that, you know, we needed these beatific visions, we needed these really powerful, transcendental, expanded experiences in order to kind of break the chain of monotony and propaganda, just pure conditioning in life through, you know, the military industrial complex, everything is kind of working to condition us to be worker ants. And so we needed these really powerful experiences. And now we're moving into a time where what's being asked of us is to deeply embody the energy and frequency that these experiences provide for us.
Yeah.
And so coming back to yoga, mindfulness, compassion, being good to your neighbor, cleaning up after yourself, recycling, something so simple like that, all plant medicine is here to do is to wake us up to the fact that, you know, together we can save the planet, first of all. Together we can, change the narrative on this, what's going on in the world. I don't even have to get into it. Together we can choose an ethos and a philosophy to live by, and together we can be self-sustainable. We can grow our own food, we can create our own energy, and that's what it's there for. And people just get really caught up in like, oh, I got to keep doing medicine, I got to keep doing medicine, and they're
Yep.
not eating healthy, they're not exercising, they're not taking care of themselves, they're not taking care of their family. And it's like the whole, what sin means is missing the mark. It's Latin term for an archery term for missing the mark. So it's like,
Hmm.
that's kind of the definition of missing the mark, right? It's like almost being
Yeah.
sinful.
Yeah.
And so I just encourage everyone, like through our retreats and through our trainings, to really embody, do your best. Be like, look, I miss days sometimes. I have trip ups. I make mistakes, right? But I do my best, especially being held accountable as a teacher. But we should all do our best to embody the realizations and the downloads and the profound experiences that we have through plant medicine and through breath work and through meditation and through yoga. And so that's where we are now, I feel, Brandon, and I keep getting that download, that transmission confirmed by so many people.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I've done a lot of exploring those realms, and from 5-MeO, I've done 5-MeO once, and ayahuasca half a dozen times, and lots of, other plant medicine, psychedelics. And I feel less called than I ever have. It's kind of like, I think it was Terrence McKenna that said, if you get the message, hang up the phone. And I think the message is there. And now how do we really bring these realizations that these experiences can provide to our everyday life, without needing this tool to get there? It just becomes sort of a part of who and what we are. And of course, there's people at a different point in their journey than maybe me or you, or it's like, oh my gosh, I've never done anything, and mushrooms would be the best thing I could possibly do to crack myself open. And so it's obviously
and they're
very
a great
personal.
reminder. It's if you're feeling stuck, or if you're feeling, like, I tried to meditate, I tried to do breath work, I tried to, do this, do that, qigong, and I'm still feeling this stuck. Then having that experience, revisiting that experience in a really intentional and conscious way is an embodied thing to do. And there's nothing wrong with it. But I totally agree with you. It's like, once you have your spiritual honeymoon, right after that, then you can kind of decide on, well, where is this taking me? I have my whole life to live after this. So how am I going to apply this deep information that I now have in my body?
Yeah. I like that, spiritual honeymoon. That's a good way to put it. And, I always talk about the spiritual narcissistic trap that is a part of that journey. I feel like we all, you start tapping into like, I am the one, and I am extraordinary and special. It's like, and so is everyone else. So chill out. You may be uncovering this truth about the one, before your neighbor in some sense, but don't let it get don't get too, your britches get too big for you, kind of thing. And I feel like that trips up a lot of people.
Oh yeah. I felt that, like, why am I a chosen one? Why have I been chosen? What makes me so special? And then it's cool to see, like, oh, everybody's waking up. It's not just me.
And you chose yourself, right? It's if you in this particular lifetime, I would say it's like, this is a lifetime where it made sense for me to wake up and choose myself. Maybe the guy next to me, not so much. That doesn't make them any less a part of the one or spiritual at their core. They're just at that point in the journey.
Yes, exactly. Their dharma is different. If your dharma is, for you, I would not to be make assumptions, but part of your dharma is to be a messenger, and to share so many interesting people and perspectives and ideas, and so much that you have the transmission and then share it with the world. And I feel like my dharma is to be almost like a mercenary, like to be
Mm,
a teacher, and that
hmm.
I signed up for the job of helping and aiding in the great awakening. And there's many people that are doing that.
Sure.
And yeah, when you realize that, it's great to have a foundation of, no matter what, I will be humble and I will be rooted in humility and service.
Absolutely.
Because then you get a Bikram, then you get a Yogi Bhajan, and then you get
Yep.
a
Yeah.
Osho.
Yep. Well, Lao Tzu said it well. He says, "Why is the sea king of 100 streams? Because it
Mm,
lies below them. Therefore, it is king of 100 streams."
mm.
And
God,
yeah,
Lao Tzu.
I know, I know.
Jazz claps.
Yes, Lao Tzu deserves lots of those. So let's talk about some of the tools that you have sort of focused on a lot, and I know you do a lot to help heal trauma using breath work and
Yeah,
particular modalities of breath work. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
for sure. Well, after I've always been, since my awakening, I was just fascinated by the different ways to heal the mind, body, and soul, and to create healing spaces for others. And one of the most popular and powerful modalities at that time was, where I was discovering all this, was breath work. And this is when Wim Hof was just becoming popular, and
Mm-hmm.
when I was in Bali, Indonesia, living in Ubud. So I was kind of getting, it's almost like a 2.5 to 3 year sneak peek of what's going to come to the West. And
Right.
so, and now I'm seeing all of this become super popular in the West. I'm like, it's like clockwork. And
Yeah.
so, also the transformational breath work designed by Stanislav Grof, to replicate the healing effects of LSD. So those two styles I was really fascinated with, when it comes to breath work. And eventually I learned all about them. I did trainings. I understood them fundamentally, and through practice and experience. And I created two different breathwork practices, one called dynamic breathwork and one called sonic neural breathwork.
Mm.
And the dynamic breath work is the Wim Hof derivation. So it's really like your go-to, one-stop shop for taking care of a lot of different health health focused intentions in 15 minutes. And all you have to do is breathe. And it comes through controlled hyperventilation, holding the breath, stretching the lungs, and then arming. So similar to mantras, we're stimulating the vagus nerve, creating harmony in the body. And I mean, it boosts the immune system. It decreases inflammation. Um, it increases longevity and performance. It helps so much with autoimmune diseases. It stretches the lungs, so the amount of longevity that you're receiving there is incredible. The boost in longevity, and it prepares you for meditation. And
Mm.
this isn't just smoke and mirrors. This has been proven through science to do this time and time and time again. In fact, Wim Hof, a cool study that they did was they took five of him and his students, five of his students, and a test group of five people, who had not been doing the breath work, and him and his students had been doing the breath work, and that's all they did was breath work. And they injected both of the test groups with E. coli, so bacteria, and all of Wim Hof students totally fine. The
Wow.
entire test group on the other side all got sick from the E. coli
Wow.
infection. Yeah, so it's just time and time again you see this work really powerfully. This breath work with cold water, which I just rigged up, a little while back, a chest freezer cold plunge, which I absolutely love because we're in Louisiana and Sedona, so both of them are hot as hell all year
Yeah.
long.
Right.
Um, and and so it's amazing. The power of this breath work combined with the cold water is just remarkable, dude. I mean, if that's all you do, you will live a long and healthy life. And so that's a big factor of kind of what I call maintenance practice with breath work. It's like what we do to maintain our sanity and maintain our health. And then the sonic neural breath work is a breath work practice that's designed to really create a default mode network shutdown, right? Prefrontal cortex goes ahead and lets it sleep once we do this breath work, this cyclical diaphragmatic deep breathing, controlled breathing for 10, 15 minutes, the thinking mind totally shuts down. Next thing you know, the intuitive body and the intuitive mind kicks in, and people begin to heal themselves. People who have never even heard of Reiki begin to do Reiki all over their bodies. They begin to move in ways where they shake out energy in their bodies. They yell,
Wow.
they cry, they have these emotional releases, they dance in the cosmos and have these beautiful psychedelic journeys, just through breathing. And that is really connected to the music, the soundtrack. As a musician, I created this big soundtrack that takes you on this really arced journey.
Cool.
And it's so powerful and so cool, man. I absolutely love it. And they both have their place. And my intention whenever I went to Asia after studying the Bufo was to discover something that creates a Bufo-like experience and Bufo-like healing that doesn't need to which is what's happened, commoditize, I'm not sure if I'm saying that word right, but commoditize nature, which is never good, right? Monetize nature.
Taking the frogs and extracting, the
yes
5-MeO from them, which is questionable, I think.
It's a real issue, so you have to, like any medicine that I have, I get in a really sustainable way at a sanctuary, but the cartel is involved. It's $300 a gram usually for this medicine. So we're talking more than cocaine. So just imagine how the cartels would respond to that. But this breath work does that. Coming back to the breath work creates this profound beatific vision for many, many, many people that practice it. So primarily that's what I use with breath work, and then combining it with movement. I'm a certified yoga teacher, do some qigong, ecstatic dance, do some DJing for ecstatic dance. And really it all comes together to, like, oh my God, this is me without walls. This is me and my body. And now I know how to listen to my body. It increases the sense of intuition. Now I hear my body in a way that I've kind of been neglecting and rejecting for many years. And that's, the primary intention with those practices is to help somebody connect to their true nature, which is an intuitive spiritual being, right?
Yeah.
Which is what we all are. But other than that, something else I've been studying more recently is emotional freedom technique, tapping, neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, hypnotherapy, HMR, EMDR, these more psychotherapy, talk therapy, cognitive therapy approaches to kind of usually one-on-one clients. And it's something that I've developed over time called quantum healing. And basically quantum healing is something that's very empowering because it gives the participant or the client the ability to create their own visualized experience. And so the client creates a memory basically. And through identification and being intuitive with the body, they're able to clear energy themselves. So through simple talk therapy, and then also through visualization and creating memories, which is a beautiful thing that we can do that we don't really understand. Most people don't understand. Creating memories, we can then fill the space where that trauma may have been in the body with beauty, with love, with a new energy. And then the genes begin to express and to shift and to change, and the neurons fire and everything becomes rewired. And then you ground that in with some EFT, you ground it in with some hypnotherapy. And next thing you know, that person's kind of liberated from that trauma packet that was there.
Wow.
And so it's all a work in progress, but it's really come together in a really powerful way to where next year we kind of setting the intentions to not even use plant medicine at the or not something as powerful as Bufo alvarius at future retreats in places where it's legal, such as Mexico and Canada. And we're really focusing on doubling down on the sound healing, which is a very important modality in my life, and probably I'm almost mostly known for my sound healing stuff. But sound healing, breath work, EFT, hypnotherapy, quantum healing, forgiveness. First of all, the Rolls Royce of biohacking, self-development, spiritual healing is I forget the name of the doctor, but he's in Sedona. It's $20,000 for a week, and basically the whole program is forgiveness. So we don't really think about this, but when we forgive, we're almost transmuting our bitterness and our bitterness, our anger, our judgment, into thankfulness and gratitude for giving us the experience and the
Mm.
lesson that was necessary to lead us into the path that we're on now, which is the path of healing. If anybody's having this healing session with us,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
so and so it combines all those things together, and doubling down on those things is much more in line with embodiment than with the beatific vision. It's all about the beatific vision. It's all about
Right.
awakening. Now it's time to take that awakening and really ground it in. And
Yeah.
I found that these modalities, they do an incredible job at that.
Super, super cool. And with the quantum healing technique that you use, we talked about it a little bit before we started recording. It's something that you can actually facilitate remotely and
Yes.
sort of guide. And we talked about maybe doing a guided one here.
Yes.
Yeah. So now maybe would be a good time to do that.
Yeah, sure, man. Let's drop into it. Absolutely.
Cool.
Fantastic. Cool deal. So we'll go ahead and just get in a nice seated position where your back's nice and straight, and preferably your feet are barefoot on some wood or on something that's earthy. Carpet will do if you have some carpet over there.
It's brown carpet, so
We'll
that's
just act
earthy.
like it's the earth.
Yeah.
So go ahead and just close your eyes and take a nice deep breath in through your nose, filling up your belly, chest, and head. And open the mouth and sigh it out. Drop the shoulders, take a deep breath in. We're going to take 3 more breaths and see how slowly you can inhale and exhale. If you're listening at home, you can follow along. Take a nice deep breath in. Just take one more breath in and all the way nice and slow. And slowly exhale. Perfect. So step 1 is just helping us to relax, to get in a pace of receptivity and openness. And you can keep your eyes closed. I'm going to ask you a question, and I invite you to answer the question with the first thing that comes to your mind and your heart. Let your body answer the question, not the thinking mind. And that question is, what needs to be resolved, what needs to be let go of, and what needs to be brought in? You can answer any of those. If something needs to be let go of and resolved, that's perfect. If something needs to be brought in, that's perfect too. So how would you answer that question? What needs to be resolved?
You want me to speak it out or just keep it to myself?
Go ahead and speak it out.
Say more discipline.
More discipline. Great. Perfect. Discipline with work or discipline with life or just in general?
Health, spiritual practice, all the things that you focus on.
Cool.
Integrating more of it, in a disciplined
Great.
manner in my life.
Great. Awesome. So that's perfect. So work on just bringing in more discipline. And so usually whenever we're wanting to create something, we're choosing to create something in our life, there's something usually there that's kind of blocking us from it. And whether it's a sense of, I'm not worthy of this, or I don't have time for this, or I'm not made for this, it's usually something. And so I'm going to invite you to scan your body with your awareness from the top of your head down to the bottom of your feet and back up. You just go ahead and do this as you take nice deep breaths. And just notice where you feel any block that may be blocking you from really anchoring in, focusing on your practices, focusing on exactly what you need to do and to be in your highest expression. Notice you feel any energy tensed up anywhere in the body that may be blocking you. And whenever you discover it, just let me know where it is.
Say for me, it's like sacral chakra area.
Great. So right around the sacral chakra. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go ahead and begin to build a blueprint of what that is. Okay.
Is the sacral's the second one up, right? Yeah.
Sacral would be the second. Yes.
Yep.
Solar
Okay. I
plexus
got
would be
it.
the third.
Got it. That's one. Yep.
So we're going to kind of build out a blueprint of what this is. So I'm going to ask you a few questions regarding its qualities, and you just let me know.
Mm-hmm.
Does this energy have a color?
I guess orange first comes to mind, and that's the color, of that area. So that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay, perfect. We're just going to go with the first thing that comes to mind. Does it have a shape?
Not particularly.
Is it kind of Morpheus and gaseous?
Yeah.
Okay, Morpheus. Does it have a temperature?
I would say on the warm side.
Warm. Okay. Is it shallow or is it deep in the body?
Feels pretty shallow.
Okay, cool. Does it have a texture?
I don't know if I get a texture.
Okay. It could be smooth, could be rough.
Yeah, I think I would guess I would say smooth more than rough.
Okay, smooth. Last but not least, is it heavy or is it light?
I'd say it's in between.
Okay. And is it dense? Do you find that it's dense or is it kind of loose?
Kind of loose.
Okay. Awesome. So now we're going to charge up our hands and create some deep, deep healing hands for yourself. So you're going to rub your hands together a little bit faster, and as you're rubbing them together, they're starting to glow a beautiful golden color, starting to get nice and charged up. You can feel that heat. And now we're going to clap them together 3 times. Beautiful. And so now I invite you to say a quick prayer into your hands, and I'll do the same from over here. Just connecting with source, connecting with yourself, charging up your hands with energy. And at this time, go ahead and visualize them as beautiful, glowing hands, healing hands, able to move energy, able to remove and implement energy, able to heal your own body. This is your birthright to heal yourself. And imagine your hands glowing, beautiful golden color, and they're almost a foot long. They become very large. This metaphysical phantom hands that you have. Powerful and beautiful, glowing a beautiful golden color. Whenever you finish your prayer, just give me a little nod. Perfect. So now we're going to take these beautiful big glowing hands. We're going to move them into that area of the sacral. And you're going to imagine them going into the body and pulling out this orange Morpheus, warm, shallow, smooth, kind of loose energy bit by bit, taking your time and balling it up in front of you, almost as if you're balling up Play-Doh. Balling it up in front of you. And you're going to repeat this process and continue to remove more and more bit by bit until you feel this sense of relief in that area. So just taking your time. Just removing bit by bit until the visualization is that area is now a lot of space where there used to be no space. It has relief. You feeling it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Beautiful. So do you feel like you've removed just about all of it?
Yes.
Great. Ball it up in front of you. So now just take a moment to have awareness of which direction that ball is spinning in. Which way is it spinning?
Counterclockwise?
Perfect. And this is typical. We see this happen a lot, counterclockwise. So I want you to freeze it in real time and spin it the other direction fast. Beautiful. So every time I snap, this ball speeds up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 times faster, 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 faster. And it's glowing this beautiful golden color. And you're visualizing this as I'm speaking to you. And it's 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 times faster. It's spinning this beautiful golden color. It's starting to transmute, to change, to shift. It's starting to become loose, starting to become light. It's starting to become beneficial. It's starting to become healthy. It's starting to become beautiful and glowing. And so right behind this beautiful glowing ball, there is almost what looks like a microwave. You can imagine this microwave is where things to go to be fully transmuted and deleted. And so I want you to open this microwave that's right behind the ball. Just open the door to it and gently push it in. Perfect. And then close the door behind it. Perfect. And as I clap, you're going to see it spinning even faster and faster and faster, glowing this beautiful golden color now, filling up the entire screen of what you can see into the microwave, just totally filling it up. And there's a dial at the bottom right-hand corner of the microwave. And whenever you're ready to fully transmute this energy, and so that it can never go back to the way that it was, I invite you to turn that dial. And just imagine beautiful golden flakes lingering inside of the microwave. The only thing that's left is beautiful golden flakes, nothing less, nothing more. Fully transmuted energy. When you're ready to release those golden flakes back into nature, I invite you to open the door and just observe them flow away into nothingness, being taken by the wind. And just take a deep breath. And how does that part of your body feel?
Feels great. I definitely felt, a lot of energy moving even just throughout my whole body, not just there.
Amazing. So one more part to this, and this is HMR. So we're going to do some color therapy, basically. And so I want you to just close your eyes and connect either with a memory that is absolutely exceptional, where you're doing your favorite thing in your favorite place in nature with your favorite people, a moment of absolute bliss. You have no responsibility. You're just enjoying life to the absolute fullest. It can either be a memory that you have, or you can visualize yourself in this space. When I do it, I'm on the beach with a big fire and all of my favorite people. It's almost like we're on this deserted island. It's amazing. It's beautiful and perfect. And so just go ahead and create your own vision of this perfection, this beautiful moment. And let it bring a little smile, a little giggle to all of your cells, every part of you. Whenever you have this visualization, I want you to just give me a gentle head nod. Beautiful. I want you to notice the colors that are associated with this vision. And whenever you see these colors that are really deeply associated, go ahead and say them out loud.
Deep purple and aqua blue and forest green.
Beautiful. Beautiful colors. So now I just invite you to being immersed in this vision with your eyes closed. Allow that deep purple, the aqua blue, and forest green to fully come alive, to begin to dance around your body and move through you. And as each color moves through your body, you get an overwhelming sense of just empowerment and fulfillment as these colors are fully embodied by this vision, this feeling of tranquility, unity, peace, connection, health, abundance, vitality. And when you're ready, begin to take nice deep breaths, breathing this royal purple, this aqua blue, and this deep forest green in through the nose. And as these colors come into the body, they swirl deep down in the belly where the sacral chakra is, where we just created space. And as you exhale, it expands out, washing over each and every cell, each and every atom, filling up with these colors, filling up the entire body. with each inhale and exhaling them, expanding out into every crevice, every inch, every centimeter of your body, especially filling up this space in the sacral chakra. Take a few more moments to take these deep breaths. Breathing in these colors. Allowing them to fully baptize and wash every cell. If you're listening at home, I invite you to do the same. How's that feel?
Really great.
Awesome.
Really, really great. Makes me realize I don't use the power of visualization enough. As part
Many
of
us do not.
Yeah. It's really, really amazing where we can just take ourselves and having, of course, a great guide like yourself helps.
Oh, well, thank you, brother.
Yeah,
thank
man.
you. And so the concept there in a nutshell is to create space and then fill that space where there was once density with lightness and beauty.
Yeah.
And then we can go on and, whatever needs to come up next, EFT, hypnotherapy, etc. That would kind of follow that, but you get the gist for sure.
And I feel slightly high, so we didn't even need 5-MeM DMT.
Yeah, all you need is to take a few deep breaths for that, man.
Yeah, totally. It's a trip. So
thank you for allowing me to do that with you, brother.
Thank you so much for being willing to share that with me, on the show. And also I know a lot of people at home can tune into it and can rewind it and the whole thing. So that's really awesome to have as a addition to our connection here. As we kind of wind. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You go ahead and say what
I invite everyone that whenever they're listening to this, if they like, they can rewind it or what have you, and go ahead and do this same exact practice. Ask themselves the questions, do the body scan, and draw up their own, identify where they have blockages, and then do the same exact practice, which is called psychosomatic neuromodulation. And then come into that beautiful vision and breathe in those colors so they can go back and do this own practice on their own simply by listening to the podcast.
Cool. Well, as we wind down here, a couple of things that curious about. I want to get to a story of synchronicity, serendipity, positive paranormal story. I love getting just story time from my listeners. But before we go there, I'd love to just hear a little bit about, you did a film, Spirit of the Earth.
Yes.
And I'd just love to hear a little bit about that.
For sure. So 2 years ago, I was in India and I was doing a meditation training, and I had my camera, and I'm a filmmaker. So an independent filmmaker, of course. And I had this calling to make this film, Spirit of the Earth, where we would go around and interview sadhus and ask them the secrets to life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as well as making it, I just saw the Babas and I saw the sadhus and their face paint and the Ganges and the rawness of India, and I wanted to capture that. And I was so blessed. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like all my stuff kept breaking. I fell off the back of a motorcycle. My motorcycle headlight went out. Like I had to find a translator. There was so much that happened that made it like really challenging, but ended up making the film. It's 30 minutes long. Anybody can watch it. It's free. It's on YouTube. And I'm actually planning on making more films over the next couple of years about plant medicine, about different tribes that are facilitating these deep medicine journeys that are kind of reconnecting us back to the earth, which I think is really important. It's a big part of embodiment. But yeah, and so that was kind of my debut, my pilot documentary, if you will. And it was really fun. And, the premise of it was, I opened up and surrendered to whatever this message needs to be, allow it to be it. And it was, like the fact that simplicity is really important, and that people with much less than us experience a higher level of happiness. So just to think outside of the box of the conventional, American model, and to seek the answers to life, to be a seeker, to be a wanderer. So yeah, and yeah, I would love for everyone to check out that that documentary, that'd be amazing and super appreciated for sure.
Cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
want to check that out. So yeah, story time. What do you,
Story
I'm
time.
sure, I got to think you have a good story up your sleeve from all the magical work you're up to. Something that is synchronistic or serendipitous or positive paranormal kind of story. I mean, I guess in a sense you kind of get an out because you did share a little bit of your story on the lake. Yeah.
You know, I can share a pretty funny story from India.
Love that.
How about
Yes,
that?
please.
Cool.
Sure.
So I'm in a place called Haridwar, India. It's a very famous spiritual pilgrimage place. Millions and millions of Indians show up there almost weekly to do a deep prayer on the Ganges, so the holy river. And so they all go bathe in the Ganges. It's almost like this form of baptism. They go wash themselves in the Ganges, and it's a really beautiful, really beautiful practice. And there's only Indians, so there's very few Europeans or white people that go there, or foreigners. And so we get there, and it's so epic, and it's so chaotic, and it's so crazy. And I've got my camera, and you can film some things, and you can't film other things. And we're basically being herded like cattle from one place to the next, and they're telling us where to go. They're telling me, put my camera down, pick it up, take pictures, don't take pictures. It's crazy. And so I finally get like a little bit of space to put the drone up because it's beautiful. I mean, it was gorgeous. The sun was setting, all the buildings are multicolored. And so I get to where I'm positioned toward the water, and all behind me is everyone else. And so I put the drone up. It's just a Mavic Air, so it's nice and small. And I have it up for about 20 seconds. My guide told me it was totally fine to fly. So I have it up for about 20 seconds. And within that 20-second period, next thing I know, somebody's walking up saying, hey, you can't fly a drone here. The police are going to come get it, etc. And usually when somebody's telling me this, I'm like getting the shot. So I'm like, okay, yeah, no problem, no worries. And I'm still focused on the shot.
Yeah.
And so I got the shot, and I'm bringing the drone back around. I'm like, all right, we'll bring it down. I'm not too worried about it. And so my guide and my friend Arjun, he's behind me saying, oh man, they're coming, bring the drone down, quick, faster, bring it down. And I'm like, oh snap, well, I can only bring it down so fast, like stall them, give me some time. He's like, next thing I know, he goes, get the SD card, they're coming, they're here. And I'm like, who's here? Stall them. And so next thing I know, I have to jump up in the air, grab the drone out of the air. It's freaking out. It's trying to fly out of my hands. I turn the remote controller off. Drone finally turns off. I fold it all up and I stick it into my pants.
Wow.
And so I was not wearing underwear this day, luckily. and so the drone and my controller and everything I had was teeter-tottering like on the inseam crotch of my pants. And so I turn around, and there's this mob of angry Indians, and they're pissed. They're very upset. And so I grab all my things, and I'm like, all right, guys, see you later. And so I'm like holding the drone where it's like where my crotch is, and I'm like waddling away. I'm trying to waddle away from this angry mob. And as I'm waddling away, other mobs of Indians are like, sir, we have to take a picture with you. And they all want to take a picture with me because they never see foreigners. And that white people are very uncommon there. And so I'm like, well, I can't say no. So as I'm getting away from the angry mob, I'm getting stopped by mobs of families of Indians, and they want to take a picture with they want you to take a picture with every member of the family, and then the whole family, and then every couple of the members of the family, with the grandma. So you take like 20 pictures. Next thing I know, the mob's right there. And so I keep going, and this happens about 3 times.
Wow.
Where eventually the mob catches up, and Arjun tells me, man, they want to take you to jail. I don't know what to say. And I'm like, tell them no. Tell them we're not going to jail. It's not happening. Yeah, I'm like, it's not happening, man. And so I show them the footage. I show the police the footage, and I delete it from my phone. Of course, I kept it in the SD card on the drone. This happened in Peru as well, by the way. And so I keep the SD card footage on the SD card. But anyway, I show them that, hey, no big deal. I deleted it. It's all good. And they were like, okay, get out of here right now. So we had to go. So we got all the footage from that day, but we had to get out of there. And I didn't realize that 2 days before that, they had a terrorist threat from Pakistan and said that they were going to bomb Haridwar. So, you have a drone flying. What's the easiest way to get a bomb into anywhere? It's flying in. And so didn't realize that. But anyway, we get on the motorcycles and it's almost nighttime and it's a 2-hour drive on Indian Highway back to Rishikesh. And I realized that my headlight on my motorcycle is not working at all. And the highways are riddled with like giant boulders, random stray cows, massive potholes,
Yeah.
people.
Yep.
And so I just have to follow my buddy on the back on this motorcycle, follow his light. And we stopped at 4 Indian weddings on the way back. And
Wow.
the rest is history. Yeah. So,
Wow.
so pretty
What a
epic
journey.
day. I might have slept for a couple days after that one, but yeah,
Whew.
that's one of my travel stories that people will hit home for people when they see that drone footage of Haridwar in the documentary. They'll be like,
wow.
damn,
Yeah,
that
he
has a
paid.
backstory.
He paid. Yeah, he paid a cost for that one.
Yeah.
That would probably not have been your highest excitement to end up in an Indian jail.
You know what? It was exactly, but boy, it was an exciting moment. I will say
I bet. I
It was
bet your
awesome.
heart was racing.
that. It was
Wow.
awesome. Yeah.
Well, for those who want to connect with you, connect with your work, what is the best way to do that?
So my website is Connect and Evolve. Funny you say connect. So it's just one word, Connect, ConnectAndEvolve.com. Connectandevolve.com. My Instagram is Connect and Evolve. So people can find me on my website or Instagram. And all of my my offerings are there. Whether they can find it through my link tree on Instagram, or they can find it through tons of tabs on my website. And we have some special offerings for all of the Positive Head listeners. Should I drop into those?
Yes, please.
Awesome. So if anybody wants to experience a quantum healing session that we just did, and then it goes a little bit deeper than that with EFT and hypnotherapy, then all of the Positive Head listeners get $50 off a session with me privately.
Cool.
Yeah. So just let me know. They just need to let me know that they're coming from Positive Head. The 21-day Breathwork Academy, which is a comprehensive Breathwork Academy. It's all online, 30 videos of breathwork information and practice. Gives you a total understanding of breathwork, allows you to understand how to manage your nervous system, etc. We're doing that 50% off, so it's only $100 for all Positive Head listeners. So for $100, you can go from a total beginner to a confident breathwork practitioner.
Cool.
The most powerful ways to experience our offerings, and the most, what is absolutely transforming lives every single retreat, and just really brings people into their highest expression really powerfully, is the retreats. And so if people refer you or Positive Head, they'll get $200 off of a retreat.
Cool.
And then Breathwork Facilitator training. If people feel called to become a Breathwork Facilitator to share the medicine of breath with their community and with the world, we do a 6-week online comprehensive facilitator training, and we're offering $200 off for all Positive Head listeners.
Sweet. That's amazing. Thank you for that. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they just basically, whenever they're connecting over any of those offerings, just mention that they heard you here, essentially.
That's right.
Breezy. Awesome.
Easy breezy.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that. I know there are people out there who will take advantage of some or all of those. And
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's just awesome to think about the ripple of impact of these things. Someone hears you here, then they do that, then they do go through that. Next thing you know, breath work is a huge part of their life, or what, they come to a retreat, and it just on and on it goes. It's like,
next thing you know, you're at their retreat, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Exactly right. So, yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to share your medicine with the world and your perspectives and stories. And yeah, you're such an inspiration. I do have one final question to ask you. Since you went around India asking, now I'm going to ask you in 60 seconds or less, what is the meaning of life according to Ben Holt?
Well, in the words of the template, there's only one truth, and that's your unique divine truth.
Yeah.
And, at this time when we're here with these bodies on this earth, I believe that it is our birthright and all of our dharmas to be healthy, to be united with our truth, whatever that unique truth may be, as well as a community around us, to laugh a lot, to joke a lot, to never lose your sense of humor, to play like a child, to have an open heart, and to share your gifts unapologetically, yet humbly with the entire world.
Yeah. So it is. Thank you.
And
Thank
so
you,
it
my
is.
friend.
Aho.
Thank you all for tuning your beautiful brainwaves and incredible hearts in to another episode. Until next time, journey well, everyone.
Later, guys. Aho.
Also, before we sign off, I wanted to remind you to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can find the book and unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.